Good morning. All members will please come to the floor. All members, please come to the floor. The hour of convening having arrived. All members, please come to the floor. All members come to the floor. Mr. Clerk, will you ring the bell? Well, good morning. Good to see y'all all. You all of you. Hope you had a great weekend. You feeling better, Representative Williams? You're looking better. Because I've had some eye problems over the weekend, but you are looking better. Glad to see all of you. We're going to have the morning roll call now. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Doorkeepers, will you please close the doors and keep them closed? Doorkeepers. As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by our chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the lady from the 70th House District, Representative Chair Lady Lynn Smith. Representative Smith.
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. It is my wonderful privilege today to introduce to you Reverend Chip Gordon, Master of Divinity. After learning about the mission of Cancer Treatment Centers of America, CTCA, which is the first name you know about Noonan, Georgia, Pastor Chip Gordon, Director of Pastoral Care, was instantly impressed. He knew right away that he wanted to be part of the team since CTCA was purchased by the City of Hope Cancer Center. Reverend Gordon continues to serve patients, their caregivers, and the staff he has been for the past 13 years. And I know several of you in this room have been to either CTCA or City of Hope. Part of the team is Ray Williams right here, and he's our go-to person if we have any needs. Chip earned a Master of Divinity from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas, and a bachelor's degree in speech communication from Auburn University. Throughout his more than 30 years of ministry experience, he has served as youth pastor, senior pastor for various churches in North Carolina, Alabama, and Georgia. Chip served as the North American Mission Board church planner, planting a church in Henry County, Georgia. At the time, Henry County was one of the fastest growing counties in the U.S. Passionate about the community, Chip has served on the board of directors at Bridging the Gap, a community outreach program providing food and other resources for the people in need. That was so important when the tornado hit our community back in 2021. He has served as an advisor to the Noonan Youth Council, past board of directors of Noonan Kiwanis Club, and the past director of the Noonan Coweta Board of Realtors. He currently serves on the board for Sacred Journey Hospice Foundation. Chip is very active in Sunrise Baptist Church, where he served as an elder. Born and raised in Noonan, Chip and his wife, Jo Ellen, attended Auburn University. She is a retired mathematics teacher at Noonan High School. Their daughter, Jo Ellen, is married to Chip, and they have 2 daughters, Katie and her husband, Hunter, Abby and her husband, Andrew, and 4 incredible grandchildren. So it's my great privilege today to introduce you to someone whose whole adult life has been about pastoral care. I call it the faith, hope, and charity. He's able to practice all 3 of those. Pastor Chip Gordon.
Well, thank you, Representative Smith and Mr. Speaker. What a joy to be with y'all this morning. As I begin, I would like for you to do something. I would like for you to look around at the people near you. Just take a moment to look around. They don't look like you. They don't act like you. They don't talk like you or have your background. We are all different. You know, friends, I love the fact that God knit each one of us together. We are fearfully and wonderfully and uniquely made. Now, last week I had a dream about being here. There were many people around, and then someone came up to me and told me, we just need to hear about unity. And then I woke up. So that night, I decided that I believed that was what the Lord wants me to talk about today. Henry Blackaby said, God speaks through the Bible, prayer, circumstances, and the church to reveal himself, his purposes, and his ways. Unity and peace are central themes throughout the Bible. We may not always agree with one another, but one thing you can agree on is that you are here to serve the people of this great state and to do what is best for the state of Georgia. We are told in Psalm 133, verse 1, how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. Romans 14:19 tells us, let us therefore make every effort to do what leads to peace. When you stop to think about it, you are either a peacemaker or a troublemaker. You might want to ask yourself, am I a spoon in a bowl of discontent? Do I stir things up? Friends, peacemaking is not always popular. Unity is not always popular. Some people prefer to fight for what they believe in. In a battle, the hope is in winning. But someone must be the loser. Peacemaking, unity, actually produces 2 winners. Peacemaking is God's way. The Apostle Peter wasn't known as a peacemaking kind of guy. In fact, Peter, when we first meet him, was impulsive, strong-willed. I'm sure none of you can relate to that. But Peter had changed and had developed some good qualities the hard way. The Holy Spirit changed Peter. Peter was now a man that God could use. Listen to what we read in 1 Peter 3:8. Finally, all of you be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. Peter lists 5 characteristics, things that we should strive for in order to maintain peace and have unity. We should be like-minded, being on the same page, having the same goals. It does please the Lord when we have unity. I think you all agree that you are here to serve the people of Georgia. But he also says we should be sympathetic, being responsive to the needs of others. Peter goes on to say, love one another. We must look at others and treat them as brothers and sisters. John 13:34 tells us, a new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must also love one another. And then Peter says, be compassionate. Everybody needs compassion. We all need compassion. At City of Hope, we show compassion with how we say what we need to say to the patient. But we also show compassion by giving the patients a hug. And if you haven't had a hug this morning, you let me know after this is over and I'll come give you a hug. And then finally, Peter says, be humble. Colossians 3:12 reminds us, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Friends, this morning, ask yourself, how can I be a peacemaker? How can I help establish unity, not just as a representative, but in all areas of my life? Unity and peace do not come about by us just sitting and not putting forth effort. Too often we think of peacemaking as a passive role, simply the absence of conflict. That's not the case. You and I must work at peace. We must strive to have unity. Peter was quoting David in Psalm 34 when he wrote in 1 Peter 3:11, seek peace and pursue it. We are all different. Are you always going to get along and always agree? No. But when we seek to live out these characteristics Peter shared in 1 Peter 3:8, it will make a difference and bring about unity. Would you please join me as we stand and as I pray for you? Lord, I humbly come before you this morning and ask your guidance on this house. I pray for each lady and man present that you will guide them in all that they do. Protect them, strengthen them, encourage them as they seek to live lives of peace and unity. I pray that they will be like-minded, sympathetic, that they will love one another, that they will be compassionate and humble. Bless them today. In Jesus' name, amen. And now if you will join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brother Chip.
Hey,
Unity.
you.
We need that unity.
Yes.
Thank you, Brother Chip. Doorkeepers, you may open the doors. Members, you may join Brother Chip in the South Ante room. And thank him for his message on unity this morning. A great message and a timely one. Thank you again, Brother Chip. Members, our doctor of the day is brought to us by Representative Park Cannon. Dr. Head is down in the aid station. If you need the doctor's services, be sure and join Dr. Head, and also thank her for her service. Thank you, Representative Cannon. Chair recognizes Chairman Hilton, the Chair of the Committee on Information and Audits. Chairman Hilton.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal the previous legislative day, and we found it to be correct.
Thank you, Chairman Hilton. The Chair of the Committee on Information and Audits reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Hearing none, the reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? Hearing none, the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Mr. Clerk.
Representative Administration of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Hearing none, the resolution is adopted. First reading the bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 811 by Representative LaHood of the 175th, Corbett of the 174th, Burchett of the 176th, and Sharper of the 177th. Bill be titled Act to provide a homestead exemption from Lowndes County School District ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 812 by Representative Chokus of the 151st, Rose of the 124th, Williams 148th, Jaspers the 11th, Crow the 118th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Part 2 of Article 1 of Chapter 2 of Title 80 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated related to state building, plumbing, and electrical codes.
Governmental affairs.
House Bill 813 by Representative LaHood of the 175th, Corbett of the 174th, Burchett of the 176th, and Sharper of the 177th. Bill be titled Act to provide a homestead exemption from Lowndes County School District ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 814 by Representative LaHood of the 175th, Corbett of the 174th, Burchett of the 176th, and Sharper of the 177th. Bill be titled Act to provide a homestead exemption from Lowndes County ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 815 by Representative LaHood of the 175th, Corbett of the 174th, Burchett of the 176th, and Sharper of the 177th. Bill be titled Act to provide a homestead exemption from Lowndes County ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 816 by Representative Rhodes of the 124th. Bill be titled Act to create the Greene County Public Facilities Authority.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 817 by Representative Dickey, the 134th, Meeks of the 178th, and Dawson of the 65th. The bill be titled Act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 6 of Title 4 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to livestock dealers.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Bill 818 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Leverett of the 123rd, Galt 38th, Blackman of the 146th, and Evans the 57th. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 23 of Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to the Georgia Judicial Retirement System.
Retirement.
House Bill 819 by Representative Washburn of the 144th. The bill be titled Act to authorize the governing authority of Jasper County to levy an excise tax.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 820 by Representative Washburn of the 144th. The bill be titled Act to provide a homestead exemption from Jasper County School District ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 821 by Representative Gamble the 15th, Scoggins the 14th, Lumsden of the 12th, Hitchens the 161st, Seaball the 34th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 6 and Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions relative to bonds.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 822 by Representative Lumpton of the 83rd and Lim of the 98th. The bill be titled Act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 19 to Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to attorneys generally.
Judiciary.
House Resolution 685 by Representative Saints of the 180th, Taylor of the 173rd, Jones of the 47th, Oliver of the 84th, and Ballard of the 147th. A resolution creating a House Study Committee on Mental Health Workforce Development.
Health.
House Resolution 711 by Representative Irwin of the 32nd, Wade of the 9th, Dubnik of the 29th, Chokus of the 151st, and Cannon of the 172nd. A resolution creating a House Study Committee on Student Attendance in Pre-K through 12 Education.
Education.
House Resolution 711 by Representative Senate Bill 328 by Senator Strickland of the 42nd, Davenport of the 17th, Williams of the 25th, and Jones of the 10th. Bill be titled an act to amend an act creating a state court of Henry County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
Senate Bill 329 by Senator Strickland of the 42nd, Davenport of the 17th, Williams of the 25th, and Jones of the 10th. Bill be titled an act to amend an act providing supplements to the salaries of the judges of Superior Court.
Intergovernmental coordination.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. Mr. Clerk, will you read?
House Bill 799 by Representative Deloach of the 176, a bill to amend an act providing for the election of the Board of Education of Long County. House Bill 800 by Representative Tarvin of the 2nd and Powell of the 33rd, a bill relating to insurance of motor vehicles and traffic. House Bill 801 by Representative Deloach of the 167th, a bill to amend an act to recreate and establish the Board of Commissioners of Long County. House Bill 802 by Representative Kelly of the 16th, a bill to authorize the City of Cedartown, Georgia, to exercise all redevelopment and other powers under the Redevelopment Powers Law. House Bill 803 by Representative Hatchett of the 155th, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from City of Dublin Independent School District ad valorem taxes. House Bill 804 by Representative Holly of the 116th, Dawson of the 65th, Bell of the 75th, Fry of the 122nd, Davis of the 87th, and others. A bill relating to purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, or sale of controlled substance or marijuana and penalties. House Bill 805 by Representative Hatchett of the 155th, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from City of Dublin Independent School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes. House Bill 806 by Representative Rhodes of the 124th, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from Oglethorpe County School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes. House Bill 807 by Representative Thomas of the 21st, Parsons of the 44th, Carson of the 46th, Byrd of the 20th, Ridley of the 22nd, and others, a bill to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from all City of Woodstock ad valorem taxes for city purposes. House Bill 808 by Representative Carson of the 46th, Powell of the 33rd, Crow of the 118th, a bill relating to the Employees Retirement System of Georgia. House Bill 809 by Representative Carson of the 46th, Hitchens of the 161st, Powell of the 33rd, Thomas of the 21st, Crow of the 118th, and others, a bill relating to speed restrictions. House Bill 810 by Representative Jaspers of the 11th, Hawkins of the 27th, Taylor of the 173rd, Stevens of the 164th, Newton of the 127th, and others, a bill relating to regulation and licensure of pharmacy benefit managers. House Resolution 653 by Representative Osteen of the 169th and Burchett of the 176th, resolution recognizing the United States military veterans and dedicating a highway in their honor. House Resolution 654 by Representative Lupton of the 83rd, Lamb of the 98th, Campbell of the 35th, Cannon of the 58th, a resolution commending Community Estra L.A. House Resolution 655 by Representative Powell of the 33rd, Blackman of the 146th, Stevens of the 164th, a resolution creating the House Study Committee on Gaming in the State of Georgia. House Resolution 656 by Representative Malalier of the 59th, Anderson of the 10th, Oliver of the 84th, Williamson of the 112th, Hughley of the 141st, a resolution creating the House Study Committee on expanding home ownership opportunities for Georgians. House Resolution 657 by Representative Chastain of the 7th, Burns of the 159th, Jaspers of the 11th, Cox of the 28th, Wade of the 9th, and others, a resolution recognizing Mrs. Emma Lou Stover and dedicating a bridge in her honor. House Resolution 658 by Representative Thomas of the 21st, Ridley of the 22nd, Parsons of the 44th, Scoggins of the 14th, Carson of the 46th, resolution honoring the life of Mr. David Allen Donnelly and dedicating a road in his memory. House Resolution 659 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th and Burns of the 159th, a resolution creating the House Study Committee on Insurance Market Reform. House Resolution 660 by Representative Chokas of the 151st, a resolution recognizing Mr. Lamar Hudgens and dedicating an intersection in his honor. House Resolution 661 by Representative McLean of the 109th, Buckner of the 137th, Alexander of the 66th, Taylor of the 92nd, Tran of the 80th, and others, a resolution urging the Federal Railroad Administration to deny CSX's request to become the first railroad to use Trip Optimizer's 0-to-0 feature. Senate Bill 330 by Senator Estevez of the 35th, Halpern of the 39th, McLaurin of the 14th, Kemp of the 38th, Harrell of the 40th, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from City of Atlanta's Independent School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes. Senate Bill 331 by Senator Dixon of the 45th and Gann of the 47th, a bill to repeal an act creating and establishing a joint airport authority for the City of Winder and the County of Barrow. Senate Bill 333 by Senator Moore of the 53rd, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from City of Chickamauga Independent School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes. Senate Bill 334 by Senator Moore of the 53rd, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from City of Tryon Independent School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes. Senate Bill 335 by Senator Moore of the 53rd, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from Chattooga County School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes. Senate Bill 336 by Senator Moore of the 53rd, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from Dade County School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes. Through second readers.
Yep. Reports of standing committees. Mr. Clerk, will you read?
Representative Beth Camp of the 135th District, Chairman of the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Local, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals had under its consideration the following bills to the House. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 615 do pass by substitute. House Bill 747 do pass. House Bill 755 do pass. House Bill 756 do pass. House Bill 759 do pass. House Bill 760 do pass. House Bill 762 do pass. House Bill 763 do pass. House Bill 764 do pass. House Bill 766 do pass. House Bill 758 do pass. House Bill 761 do pass. House Bill 771 do pass. House Bill 782 do pass. House Bill 783 do pass. House Bill 784 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Beth Camp of the 135th District, Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Members, we have a local calendar this morning. You may want to get close to your seats. I hope you've all reviewed it. There are 6 bills on our local calendar that relate to homestead exemption and require a 2/3 roll call vote for passage. We'll have the third reading and passage of the uncontested local bills. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none is so ordered. For what purpose does Chair Lady Camp rise?
To make a motion,
State your motion.
I move to recommit House Bill 615 and House Bill 756 from the local calendar and recommit them to the Intergovernmental Coordination Committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the captions?
House Bill 615 by substitute by Representative Petrie, the 166th Chatham County. House Bill 756 by Representative Jackson, the 165th Chatham County.
On the lady's motion that House Bill 615 and House Bill 756 be recommitted to the committee, Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, is there any objection? Hearing none, is so ordered. Mr. Clerk, will you read the local calendar without House Bill 615 and House Bill 756? Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 747 by Representative Cummings of the 9th Cobb County. House Bill 755 by Representative Ballinger of the 23rd Cherokee County. House Bill 759 by Representative Camp of the 135th Spalding County. House Bill 760 by Representative Saints of the 180th Glynn County. House Bill 762 by Representative Gilliard of the 162nd Chatham County. House Bill 763 by Representative Stevens of the 164th Richmond Hill, Bryan County. House Bill 764 by Representative Jaspers of the 11th City of Nelson. House Bill 766 by Representative Chokas of the 151st Sumter County. House Bill 758 by Representative Mathiak of the 82nd Spalding County. House Bill 761 by Representative Clark of the 108th City of Lilburn. House Bill 771 by Representative Thomas of the 21st Cherokee County. House Bill 782 by Representative Stevens of the 164th Chatham County. House Bill 783 by Representative Richardson of the 125th Columbia County. And House Bill 784 by Representative Richardson of the 125th Columbia County.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted. If all members voted, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? on the passage of the bills on the local calendar. The yeas are 170, the nays are 0. Local calendar without bills, House Bill 615 and House Bill 756. These bills have received the requisite constitutional majority and are therefore passed. Members, if you'll come to order, we have an invite resolution this morning. I'm going to ask all members to please come to order. We're recognizing a very accomplished Georgian today, someone who's very diligently working, doing his job. Thank you, members. Please give your attention for this invite resolution. Mr. Clerk, will you read House Resolution 525. Read the caption, please.
House Resolution 525 by Representative Townsend of the 179th, DeLoach of the 167th, Saints of the 180th, Crow of the 118th, Hitchens of the 161st, and others. A resolution recognizing and commending Community Supervision Officer John Crew, the Department of Community Supervision's 2024 Officer of the Year.
It's good to have John Crew here with us today. Representative Rick Townsend is recognized to speak to our resolution. Representative Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, colleagues. This is an honor. I've gotten to know John now for a little while, and he's an amazing person. He is being honored today as the Department of Community Supervision's Officer of the Year in the state of Georgia. He is a Brunswick person from Detroit. He's got his family here. He served the state over 24 years. He works with a drug court back home. He works with mental health people who are going through a mental health crisis down there. He works with them. He's done amazing things on our Brunswick Judicial Circuit. We are joined today by his aunt, Dr. Dorothy Jenkins, retired school psychologist, and she's amazing. I've talked to her, and I'm like, oh gosh, we got to talk education. She's amazing. He's got his cousin here, who's also a teacher, strong family, believe in education. They serve their community. That's what stands out about Officer Crew. He serves his community. He's well loved. He's got friends in the gallery. If we could have our friends of Officer Crew please stand up for a second. Friends of Officer Crew, let's recognize them as well. A lot of these people, including a friend of mine, Greg Judon, drove from Brunswick, Georgia, to help recognize Officer Crew. He's an amazing man. Also got a little bit extra. I kind of surprised Officer Crew on this. Judge Stephen Kelly, a lot of people know here. He's from back home. He talked about how he's instrumental in the drug court. He started a chess club down there. He works with people after hours. He's not your 8 to 5 guy. He answers the phone after 5 o'clock on the first ring. He's amazing. He's a great community partner. John, I'm honored to introduce you, and thank you. Congratulations on being the 2024 Officer of the Year.
Thank you, Speaker. I appreciate that. Yes, is it morning still? It's still morning.
It's still good morning. I had to make sure it was still morning. This is kind of surreal right now, so I appreciate your time, and I want to express my fervent gratitude to Speaker Burns and Representative Townsend for their invitation and sponsorship. It is truly an honor to stand here on the House floor today, surrounded by my family and Commissioner Nail, who their presence adds significance to this moment. I also want to thank my friends and colleagues in the gallery up there front row. They just stood up for being here to celebrate this momentous occasion. Your support means everything to me, and I am grateful to share this experience. I also would like to thank Philip Henson for his logistic prowess in coordinating this event. Thank you.
Commissioner, you got a good one here. John, I'm glad to see you brought your own fan club with you. That's pretty strong. So thank you for the work you do. Thank you, Commissioner, for the work your team does, working with Georgians, and a great mission to help people in so many different ways. So thank you for that, and we're glad to have y'all. And what a family in education and helping folks down in the Brunswick area. We appreciate you all. Thanks for being here. Congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Members John and his team, his family, and Commissioner Nail will be out in that South Ante room. If you'd like to join them for a photo and express your gratitude to him for a job well done, what a nice honor. Members, we'll move on to morning orders. Members, you'll have a maximum of 2 minutes this morning for your morning order. 2 minutes, if you will. Representative Gamble, you have a special guest as well. Representative Gamble's going to introduce very fine gentleman, a former member of this House. So give Representative Gamble your attention. Representative Gamble, morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to be up here this morning. We have a very distinguished guest with us, the Honorable Dr. Johnny Savage, born on April 16, 1934. He's about to turn 91 here in a few short days. He graduated from Emory Dental School in 1959. He joined the United States Navy Dental Corps. He was first stationed in Jacksonville. He also has a law degree from Emory. After requesting global assignment, he was stationed aboard the USS Glacier, an icebreaker supporting Operation Deep Freeze. This operation provided logistical support and assisted in research missions in Antarctica. He even has a glacier named after him called the Savage Glacier. Dr. Savage moved to Ebro, Florida in the 1980s after a successful career in Georgia politics and dentistry, and he continued to practice dentistry until he was 89 years old, and he just retired in 2022. I think that's pretty impressive. He served for 3 terms in the Georgia House of Representatives. In 1974, he ran for lieutenant governor against then Zell Miller, and has pretty interesting stories about that. When he ran for lieutenant governor, he had an important driver named then David Ralston, who later became Speaker. David Ralston was his driver in that campaign. Dr. Savage has a story captured by this book, Johnny and Jasbo. It's a true story about his relationship with Otis Jasbo Eigner, who became the first black male dental hygienist in the United States. His mother was Mildred, his sister was Nora, and unfortunately he lost a son recently, Mark, that passed away, and of course we remember Mark today as well. But through his life and dedication to service and leadership in dentistry, in the military, and politics, and his mentorship of so many people, he has made a significant impact. And I'm going to close with this because I know I've run out of time. But he also was the dentist for Speaker Murphy. He was the dentist to Reverend Martin Luther King Sr., Daddy King. And he has so many wonderful stories. But he's joined today by 12 people that drove all the way from Florida to recognize him today. And I want them to stand in the gallery because they've driven a long way. Sister Milligan, Levi Parker, my friend Ben Lee. Thank y'all for coming today. But the main event is Johnny Savage. We're honored he's with us today. He'll be in the anteroom if you want to come meet him. But thank you, Mr. Speaker, for letting me recognize him.
Dr. Savage, I got to talk to you. What a distinguished career of serving your fellow man. Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for your work over the years. Members, you may join Dr. Savage. Let's give him another hand. A former member of this house. Friends and family who traveled to be here today, we appreciate that, and I know he does as well. Thank you, and safe journeys back home when you head back home. Thank you, Representative Gamble. Representative Lupton, you're recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here to welcome a wonderful community group to the People's House today. I would like to welcome Community Estrella and their volunteers here. We welcome them for their work advocating for equal access to employment and health care for Indigenous, Black, and Brown people. They were founded in 1982 here in Atlanta. They provide educational and wellness programs for those that need it, as well as coordinating emergency housing and legal assistance for Indigenous and Black and Brown folk. We thank you. We welcome you to the People's House today. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Bonner, recognized for a special morning order. We have a lot of special folks with us today in the Capitol, so give the gentleman, the chair lady, your attention, please.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is Civil Air Patrol Day here at the Capitol. We are honored to be joined by members of the Georgia Wing of the Civil Air Patrol. The Civil Air Patrol was created in 1941 and is the civilian auxiliary of the United States Air Force. In 2024 alone, the Georgia Wing performed over 2,300 total flight hours. They provided invaluable services throughout our disasters, including Hurricane Helene. Today, the Georgia Wing has over 100 cadets up here in the Capitol, and those that are in the gallery, if you would please stand to be recognized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thanks to the Civil Air Patrol, you're here from all over the state. We appreciate what y'all do and y'all's dedication to flight and to your neighbors as well. Thank you for that. Good to have y'all. Chairman Rhodes is going to recognize some great schoolers here. Chairman Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Representative Griffin. I want to come up here. We have a great group of young people today. The 8th grade class from John Millage Academy, led by Miss Susan Avra, which today is her birthday, and Miss Connolly. I want to thank y'all for bringing them up here. They're up here learning and seeing their state government at work today, and this is a really, really special group of kids. But one of these kids, I want to take this chance to embarrass him, is my baby boy, Lane Rhodes. Lane. step on out so we can embarrass you and see your red face. But that's the 8th grade class from John Millage Academy. Y'all welcomed into the Capitol. Thank you. Thanks, brother.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to have them down to take pictures.
They're going to join me.
Yeah, okay.
Good to have y'all. High school next year. Good luck with that. Good to have y'all in the People's House. Representative Cummings, Representative Terry Cummings is recognized for a morning order, and friends.
We back. I ain't fooling with y'all. Good morning. Today we recognize the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, which I am a proud member.
And we also recognize the 100 Black Men, which I am a member of, as are these other members of the House of Representatives. The national president is Mr. Milton Jones. National president of the coalition is
Virginia Harris. Today we recognize both organizations and the work that they do in the community, educating, mentoring, and providing equity to African Americans. We're the men. Oh, okay, please stand. Thank you, Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you, Representative Cummings.
Come down to the anteroom, to my right.
I'll tell them to come down to the 3rd floor and come over here, and you can come in that South Ante room, and you can have some photos made and join Representative Cummings in that South Ante room. Gentlemen and ladies, I'm going to ask you to give Representative Parrish your attention, and also I'm going to ask you to stand as she recognizes some folks in our gallery who have lost a loved one. Members will please stand.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning, colleagues, I rise to honor little baby Caspin Tidwell Krantz. He was born in December, and his parents are here with us today. To our right, here standing right to your far right. And I just wanted to acknowledge his precious life. They loved their baby and they took very good care of him, but lost him suddenly during the Christmas season. And it just was such a heartfelt moment for our community and for my neighborhood. And I told them that we would definitely make sure that we remember him and that the state honors his life and you all for the care that you gave him while he was with us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you, members. Our condolences go out to the family. What a beautiful child. Beautiful child. Representative Park Cannon. Representative Park Cannon is recognized for a morning order. Give the lady your attention. And friends.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we're here to honor an outstanding couple. They are fiancés. That is Demetrius Williams and Miss Dondria Nicole. Demetrius has helped a number of brands gain their identities. He's worked with a wide range of clients to build meaningful relationships and cares deeply for underserved communities. Miss Nicole is a multi-talented singer, songwriter, and actress who gained widespread recognition for her powerful voice and musical contributions. She's an advocate for mental health awareness, and she continues to do programs that uplift young women. I'm standing here with their representative and wanted to just honor you here in the Capitol today and provide you with a resolution and our heartwarming thoughts of success for your upcoming marriage. Congratulations, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Congratulations, lucky man, I can tell already. And I know you know it. Thank you for y'all's involvement, and thanks for sharing your talent as well. And the best of luck to you in your future. Good to have y'all here today. Representative Beckles, the lady is recognized, and she has some friends that will join her. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everyone. I rise today to introduce to you the Student Council of Summerall Middle School. This talented group is dedicated to fostering a positive and an inclusive environment for every student. They come from our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. They are led by Dr. Edie Reen, Roxy Smith, Sarah Allen, Ali Tongo, Anna Lillard, and Rhonda Perry. If you could please stand, Summerall Middle School Leadership Council.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Representative Vance Smith is recognized for a morning order. Representative Smith. And it's good to have Michelle Smith with us today, too. Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of unusual for me, but I wanted to come up for just a second and kind of tell you that, you know, life is interesting. And a lot of things have transpired since last week when we left. First of all, I want to thank Michelle. She's sitting right over there. She's the love of my life right there. So there you go, baby. Stand up. Y'all know I married way over my head. I want to thank my children and my grandsons, our grandsons, 8. But I want to thank you. This is a family in here. And you won't believe the calls and the texts I've had. Wow. It's amazing. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. If you get the chance, read Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and plans to give you a hope and future.
Yes.
Thank you. I love y'all, every one of you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. That's all.
Vance Smith, we love you too, as a man and as a representative. So thank you for what you stand for. And yes, Michelle is the best thing in your life, next to your children and grandchildren. But thank you for what you care about in your community, and thank you for caring about the people of Georgia. We appreciate you. Members, the Smith family is going to step out in that South Annie room. If you want to go out and speak to them, be more than appropriate. And now would be the time. Representative LaHood and the Lowndes delegation. I want to see who all's in that Lowndes County delegation. Let's see. Representative Dexter, Representative Corbett, Representative Burchett. I want to give you guys plenty of room. Gentlemen, will suspend just for a moment. Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, and members, thank you for this moment. My colleagues from Lowndes County and I would like to recognize an outstanding individual from our district, and it's Mr. Franklin Bailey. If Mr. Bailey, if you'll stand up in the gallery, and we want to recognize Franklin for his outstanding achievements in leadership to the Home Builders Association of South Georgia for over 3 decades, but also he's currently serving as the president of the Georgia Home Builders Association. And he is just an excellent leader in our community and around this state, a great example. Probably his best and highest achievement ever is his marriage to his wife Sabrina and his 2 outstanding sons who were friends of all of ours, Dr. Jared Bailey and Dr. Travis Bailey, 2 physicians back home. We just thank you for what you do for us. We thank you for what you represent in our community, and we're just honored to recognize you today. So thank you. We've got this resolution to present to you, so if you'll meet us down here in the ante room, we'd love to get a picture with you. Mr. Speaker, yield the well.
Chairlady Camp is recognized for a morning order. Give the lady your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to recognize Gordon State College. They were up in the gallery a little while ago. Gordon State College is here today. I believe they're going to be in room 216 from 11 to, I think, 1 o'clock today. Representative Mathiak set that up. We are honored Gordon State College is here. They're out of Barnesville, Georgia, but they actually service about 14 counties in central Georgia. So thank you for being here today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gordon State, a really good school. Our colleague across the hall, Senator Max Burns, was president there for a while. They do a great job. We appreciate y'all recognizing them. Which room is that? 216? What time? Room 6. 11 to 1, Gordon State. That completes our morning orders. We'll move on to our rules calendar. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 193?
Senate Bill 193 by Senator Brass of the 6th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 4, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to vocational, technical, and adult education, so as to authorize the State Board of the Technical College System of Georgia to establish the Adult Workforce High School Diploma Program. This bill having referred to the Committee on Higher Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Houston Gaines is recognized to speak to Senate Bill 193. Representative Gaines.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 193 is a workforce development bill that ensures an opportunity for those aged 21 to 40 to go back and earn a high school diploma through technical college system where they were contract with accredited providers. And really it's a pay-for-performance model where these contractors would have to ensure that they actually get their diploma, where individuals going through the programs would get their diploma in order for the program to actually get paid in that regard. So this is all subject to appropriations. Happy to answer a question if there is one, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
The gentleman is yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 193, the yeas are 159, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 149?
Senate Bill 149 by Senator Hickman of the 4th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 23-411 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to definitions regarding tuition equalization grants at private colleges and universities. This bill having referred to the Committee on Higher Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Deja vu. See if you get it right this time. Chairman Gaines is recognized to present Senate Bill 149. Representative Houston Gaines.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is another workforce development higher education bill that deals with our tuition equalization grant program that encourages, as you all know, Georgia residents to attend eligible private colleges by aiding towards education costs. Currently, that's $550 per semester or $367 per quarter. There's currently 32 private colleges that qualify for the TEG program. This bill ensures those rigorous requirements stay. It allows for newly qualified four-year college institution students to participate in the TEG program. They must remain accredited by SACS Level 6, which is the highest level and rigor of accreditation. And Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to answer a question if there is one.
The gentleman has no questions.
Thank you. I yield the will.
The gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 149, the yeas are 162, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 123?
Senate Bill 123 by Senator Kennedy, the 18th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Subpart 2 of Part 1 of Article 16 of Chapter 2 of Title 20, relating to compulsory attendance, so as to update and revise provisions of the state's compulsory school attendance laws. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Gentleman from Gainesville, Chairman Dubnik, is recognized to present the bill. Chairman Matt Dubnik.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, Last year, our state faced a very unfortunate number that is now reality. 22.6% of our students were chronically absent in our public school system. That's not just a number, that represents 380,000 young people who missed at least 10% or more of the school year. The bottom line is education is our key to giving our students the next leg up in life, and the first step in achieving that is simply being present. Senate Bill 123 defines what chronic absenteeism is within code. And again, as I've referenced, that means that a student has missed 10% or more of the school year. While this is not going to fix chronic absenteeism, this is a step in the right direction. We're stating that if a district as a whole has a rate 10% or higher, they have to have an attendance review team. And if an individual school has a rate of 15% or higher, they also have to have a dedicated review team. Mr. Speaker, that is the bill. This is a bill that passed out of the Education Committee unanimously and on the floor of the Senate unanimously. And I ask for this body's favorable consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Gentleman yield for a question.
Yes, sir.
Representative McQueen, to your left, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk about the role that the judicial part, the judges have to play in this? Because I know from experience, I've been in several systems where these teams are created and already exist, but that didn't have anything to do with the judges of the area. So can you talk about that piece, please?
Sure. Thank you for the question. So that they already have that authority and oversight in other sections of our code, and so we're simply making that match from a truancy and an absenteeism standpoint where they're referenced in other places in the code, just keeping that consistent.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gentleman yield for another question.
Yes, sir.
Representative Barnes, to your left again, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Chairman. Does this in any way criminalize the schools or the students? Will this in any way?
No.
Thank you.
Gentleman yield for one more.
One more, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Irwin, Chairman Irwin, to your right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Is it not true that in some students' cases the best spot for them is at the school, not necessarily at their home environment?
Mr. Chairman, I couldn't agree with that statement anymore. We've seen so much over the last 5 years of how much our students need to be in school, want to be in school, and find better outcomes when they are there in school.
Follow up?
Please.
Didn't we learn from COVID that the best teaching is in-person teaching when the students are there with the teacher?
That's absolutely correct, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker, thank you for your attention and the questions this morning. And again, I ask for your favorable consideration of Senate Bill 123.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 123, the yeas are 160, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 112, 112?
Senate Bill 112 by Senator Dixon of the 45th and others to be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 10 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to selling and other trade practices so as to extend certain protections for consumers relative to warranties of HVAC systems and components of such systems. This bill having referred to the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chairman John Corbett is recognized to present the bill. Representative Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I bring before you Senate Bill 112. This deals with residential real property only. This bill was brought by the Conditioned Air Association of Georgia, which represents licensed HVAC contractors and suppliers across Georgia. SB 112 mirrors similar legislation that Florida passed in 2023 and has been viewed positively by consumers and the industry. This legislation does two things. It eliminates the registration requirements for these HVAC warranties to contractors and consumers. These registrations requirements are unnecessary burden that add extra work, and additionally, it often causes confusion on who is responsible for registering these systems. And then secondly, it protects the transferability of these warranties should there be a transfer of property prior to the expiration of the warranty. It follows the equipment and not the individual. This bill passed the Senate 55-0. It's a great consumer protection bill, and I would appreciate your favorable support. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill, and I'll stand for questions or yield the well.
The gentleman has a question. If you'll yield, Representative Jasmine Clark to your left. Gentleman yield to the question from Representative Jasmine Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
To the gentlelady, I do.
So thank you so much for this bill. I think it is a very common sense, customer friendly bill. I guess my question is, without the registration, how will the warranty company know that, like, who the new homeowners are and that they are now eligible for protection under this warranty?
Well, like I said, it follows the equipment and not the individual. It's with the serial number on that piece of equipment. That's how they track it. So they know a lot of times if you sell a home, you've got a 10-year warranty on your air conditioner, you've only been there 5 years, you sell it, they can go back and look at the serial number, and that's how they track the equipment.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well and ask for your favorable consideration.
The gentleman had no further questions, and he's yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will. One more voting. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of Senate Bill 112, the yeas are 166, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Resolution 273, House Resolution 273?
House Resolution 273 by Representative Hong of the 103rd and others, a resolution designated the city of Incheon, South Korea, as the sister city-state of the state of Georgia. This bill having referred to the Committee on State Properties and Community Affairs. That committee recommends that this resolution be adopted.
Representative Sue Hong is recognized to present the bill. Representative Hong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Lady will suspend just for a moment. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, H.R. 273 will designate the city of Incheon in South Korea as a sister city-state of Georgia. As many of you know, many companies in South Korea have had good economic relationships here in Georgia. We will be having the mega plant and the Hyundai mega plant opening tomorrow as well, and many companies have invested in Georgia. And so this is just a appreciation to one of the cities in Korea and recognizing them as a city amongst many cities that are doing business here in Korea, here in Georgia with us. Incheon, just a quick overview, Incheon is the home of Incheon International Airport, which is the busiest and the most advanced airports in the world. And Incheon is recognized for its contribution to global engagement, commerce, and cultural exchange. So I would respectfully request everyone to vote favorably and allow us to present this to the city of Incheon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well.
Ladies yielded the will. She had no questions. City of Incheon, a big day tomorrow if we cut the ribbon down at the Meta plant, down in Representative Franklin's district, down in southeast Georgia. Great relationship with the country of South Korea. Many great investments here in our state. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the resolution? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All in favor of the adoption of the resolution will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the adoption of House Resolution 273, the yeas are 165, the nays are 0. The resolution having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore adopted. Congratulations. Members, I'm going to add a little spice to the punch, and we're going to take up and agree. Take up on an agree today to a Senate substitute to House Bill 161. Mr. Clerk, you ready? Chairman Crowe is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that we agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 161.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Bill 161 to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 3, Title 35 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and to provide for authority to issue subpoenas of electronic communications records for purposes of investigation.
Chairman Crowe is recognized to explain the Senate substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, this is House Bill 161 we had back earlier in this body. This would simply give the GBI the ability to get administrative subpoenas for a few other crimes that they currently don't have that ability for. It includes swatting and domestic terrorism. The only change is going to be in line 125, that portion where the crime of domestic terrorism is laid out. This was actually a change I made at the suggestion of the Prosecuting Attorney's Council, a way to clean up some language, and so that's something that I agreed with the Prosecuting Attorney's Council on to make this change in the Senate so it would work better for prosecution for them. And that's the only change. and I would ask for your favorable consideration on the motion.
The gentleman has no questions. Is yielded the will. On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 161, all those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 161, the yeas are 150, the nays are 18, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 161, excuse me. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of Senate Bill 4242?
Senate Bill 42 by Senator Hatchett of the 50th to be titled Act to amend Code Section 16.6.13 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to penalties for violating Code Section 16.6.9 through 16.6.12 so as to repeal certain penalty provisions for the offense of prostitution, keeping a place of prostitution, pimping, and pandering. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary Non-Civil, that committee recommends this bill do pass.
Representative Hong is recognized to present the bill, Senate Bill 42.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I bring you SB 42 on behalf of the First Lady. Thanks to the First Lady and the Grace Commission, this will be the 10th human trafficking bill that we will be presenting. There is a legal concept called rule of lenity, which essentially says that if you have two statutes that are similar, the judge must sentence based on the more lenient statute. At least two courts in Georgia have indicated that the Georgia human trafficking statute for minors that we passed last year is similar to the pimping and pandering a minor statute, which carries a lesser sentence. So this bill will fix that in order to make sure that we have the more serious and more of a punishment for those that are sex trafficking and human trafficking our minors. That is the bill. I ask for your favorable consideration, and I yield the well.
Lady had no questions. She's yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 42, the yeas are 169, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of Senate Bill 110, 110?
Senate Bill 110 by Senator Anna Duarte of the 31st and others to be entitled Act to amend Code Section 1511.2 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to definitions relative to the Juvenile Code so as to revise the definition of neglect and to provide for new definitions. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Juvenile Justice, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
You ready, sir? Chairman, you tell me you're ready all the time, aren't you? Anytime. There you go. Chairman Eddie Lumsden is recognized to present the bill. Chairman Lumsden.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. I bring to you today Senate Bill 110. This is a bill that addresses the definition section of our Juvenile Justice Code and has the net effect of making Georgia's open-ended definition of neglect much more specific and fair. It gives Georgia families the right to let their children travel to and from school by walking, running, or bicycling, to travel to and from nearby commercial or recreational facilities, to engage in unsupervised outdoor play, and to be at home alone for a reasonable amount of time. It will allow parents to make these family decisions and makes it clear that the parent, not the government, determines when their child is of sufficient maturity, physical condition, and mental ability to avoid substantial risk of physical harm. It clarifies that neglect is the denial of necessary care to a child which creates an environment that is obviously injurious to his or her welfare. This tightened definition of neglect matches the public's understanding that the state should not intervene in family life unless the parent's actions or omissions cause a serious risk of harm to the child that is obvious to a reasonable person. Current law allows authorities to label a parent neglectful based on an officer's own moral judgment and does not require any evidence that the parent is endangering the child's health or safety. This legislation establishes basic rights for Georgia kids and families by declaring that the ordinary activities of childhood are not neglect or child endangerment, that parents can make reasonable decisions about when their children are ready to be unsupervised, that neglect means putting a child in serious and obvious danger, and that the police cannot charge parents with a crime simply for taking their eyes off their children. It gives parenting decisions back to Georgia parents and childhood back to Georgia children. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill. I would appreciate your favorable consideration.
The gentleman has a question or two.
Yes.
If you'll yield. Representative Park Cannon to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Do you yield?
I yield.
Thank you. Want to thank you for your advocacy for children. This particularly impacts transgender children, and as you said, establishes basic rights for Georgia's kids. I'm concerned about Section 2 as it relates to HIV. Can you advise what this language does as it relates to HIV and children in Georgia?
This was already code. This is nothing new, nothing in this bill that I see here in Section 2. Okay, as it goes over on the is amended as using the term independent activity and neglect. I think it speaks for itself as you read it.
Further inquiry?
Yes.
Because my question was not at all answered, could you try to answer the question? What does line 42, line 48 do? It says it shall not be a violation for a custodian to permit a child to engage in one or more independent activities.
So what is your question?
What does this do? If it's easy for me, can you just extrapolate since it's your bill?
As used in the subsection, the term independent activity, legal custodian, and neglect shall have all the same meanings as provided in the previous code section, which is already there.
Gentleman, yield for another question?
Yes.
Representative Fry to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does my friend yield?
Yes, sir.
Now, you know, we came from a time when there was an actual TV commercial and something played on the radio that said it's 10 o'clock at night. Do you know where your children are?
Yes, sir, I do.
And how over time that the definition of reasonable can change. And I don't really see where in this bill that it prevents a police officer from charging you with neglect from what they perceive to be a reasonable issue. And so, isn't it true that we were judged differently when we were little than they are today, and that this could potentially provide problems for parents the way it's written in its current form?
I think the way it's written in its current forms, it provides some protections for parents. It makes it clear that it's the parent that gets to determine whether the child has sufficient maturity to engage in these specific activities.
Would the gentleman further yield?
Yes.
Can you point out in the line where it shows that the parents have the right to make that decision in this piece of legislation, please? I might have missed it. And I'm sorry to make you work.
The specific language, 18, talks about an independent activity, and it lays out what those independent activities are.
Sure, but further yield.
I yield.
Can you show me where it does define independent activity, but where in this bill does it say the parents are the ones that choose what those independent activities are and whether they're reasonable or not? Because I feel like that the reasonable, isn't it true that I feel like the word reasonable is still very subjective, and we have news stories of moms getting arrested because their kid was playing down the street.
Gentlemen,
Isn't that true?
Gentleman has a question. Gentleman, yield to Wilbur Chet, right out in front of you to your right. Is recognized for a question.
I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Excuse me. Isn't it the purpose of this bill and the intent of this bill to bring clarity to this code section so as a ambiguous provision of neglect cannot be charged of a parent? Isn't that true?
That is correct.
All right, so this is strengthening the parents' rights to allow their kids to go to the grocery store or go to the ball field, and that wouldn't be considered neglect. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I yield well.
You had a lot of other questions, but you gentleman has yielded the well. We do have a speaker. Leader Estration is recognized to speak to Senate Bill 110.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, due to the questions that were asked, I wanted to come down here and discuss Senate Bill 110 with you. So this is very important legislation that's being discussed here today, which really goes to the heart of parents or legal custodians have a responsibility to look after their children, that law enforcement may be looking to interpret or implement Georgia law, and in doing so, we want to preserve the parent's right to allow the child to have autonomy. You know, when I was growing up, my mom would send me into a store to buy something. I would potentially, you know, I'd walk down the street to go to a friend's house, and with what we've seen in particularly in the media with the reporting around this, the concern that rises here is that parental autonomy that allows for a child to develop a sense of independence, the ability to think for themselves, to really develop and mature. Sorry for the feedback here, but that may be subject to interpretation by law enforcement or authorities inconsistent with the parents' rights and responsibilities. So I think that Senate Bill 110 is a measure that thoroughly and thoughtfully revises our state's juvenile code to better reflect the realities of modern parenting and child development. Redefining the definition of neglect provides clarity for parents and guardians. And that, to the distinguished representative's questions a moment ago, we don't have to restate in the bill that a parent or legal guardian is going to be making these determinations. That's already law. parents already have rights. And so that further language is not necessary. SB 110 also amends the reckless conduct statute, ensuring that parents are not unjustly penalized for permitting their children to undertake reasonable independent activities. And this alignment promotes a balanced approach, safeguarding kids while respecting parental judgment. So, colleagues, I would urge your support of Senate Bill 110 to affirm our commitment to laws that both protect Georgia's children, but also are practical and empower parents to make the decisions that they need to raise independent, thoughtful young Georgians to become great future citizens of our state. Mr. Speaker, with that, I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. There are some questions, but he's yielded the well. We have no further speakers on Senate Bill 110. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? For what purpose is Representative Oliver rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true, sir, that this bill arose from an incident in Mineral Bluff, Georgia, where a policeman chose to arrest a mother whose child was walking to school? DFACS had no interest in pursuing that case, but the policeman, I think, probably went across the line. But further inquiry, Mr. Speaker, doesn't this really change the definition of neglect and put the words imminent risk of harm into the standard that's going to make it more difficult for caseworkers to define neglect? Isn't that the real problem of this bill?
I'm sure the lady has a firm understanding of the situation that's set it up and of the language, but I won't comment on what it may do. For what purpose is Representative Miller rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that parents who are accused of neglect often believe that they have not been neglectful?
I'm sure that could be the case.
Further question, Mr. Speaker.
One more parliamentary inquiry.
Is it not true that we trust law enforcement officers to make judgments every day on the street in a way that is consistent with their training and judgment, and this bill undermines that fundamental principle for reasons that have not yet clearly been shown on this floor and in the committee process today?
I'm sure the lady probably believes that. Have all members now voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 110, the yeas are 100, the nays are 69. The bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of Senate Bill 119, 119?
Senate Bill 119 by Senator Goodman, the 8th and others, to be entitled an act to amend subpart 1 of part 4 of Article 2, Chapter 2 of Title 8 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating the general provisions for manufactured or mobile homes so as to provide for limited exceptions to circumstances under which a manufactured home shall become real property. This bill having referred to the Committee on Banks and Banking, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Leverett recognized to present Senate Bill 119. Chairman Leverett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, Senate Bill 119 is identical to House Bill 377, which I sponsored and which passed this House on February 28 of this year by a vote of 166 to 0. If you require any further explanation, the bill has to do with simplifying the process by which a lender would take a security interest on a manufactured home and provide that if that home is later converted to real estate by the surrendering of the title, the security interest of the lender still is preserved. This is intended to make this area of lending more attractive to lenders and thus hopefully increase the activity in that space and help with workforce housing and other issues that we're having across our state. So we believe this is a good bill. You voted for it one time. I'm asking for you to just do it one more time for me for Senator Goodman and vote green on Senate Bill 119. Mr. Speaker, I will be glad to stand for any further questions.
Representative Rhonda Taylor to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The gentleman yield?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Can you share with me how a personal property is converted to real property?
Yes, ma'am. That is a process that is somewhat unique to manufactured housing and mobile homes. So generally a mobile home or manufactured home is treated as movable property, and because it gets carried on the highways, it gets a certificate of title just like a car. And so if you make a loan on a mobile home when it's in that movable state, just like a car loan, the lender will take possession of the certificate of title and get placed on the title as the lien holder. When you site a mobile home on a piece of property, you can have the title surrendered, which converts that manufactured home from the legal category of personal property, which is movable, tangible property, to real property. And then there's different rules that govern how you would convey it, how you would sell it, how you would take it as collateral for a loan. But the process basically involves getting a certificate of permanent location and filing it with the clerk, then taking that and the certificate of title to the tax commissioner, and you surrender the certificate. So it's at that point sort of canceled, and the home is treated as part of the real estate.
Do you further yield?
Yes, ma'am. I'm surprised the lady doesn't regret the question at this point already, but I'm glad to continue answering.
Your explanation is absolutely fine. I just want to make sure that we're clear that attaching the real property to the land is attaching the personal property to the land is what's making it become real property.
Well, it can, but so you have to do that as part of the process, but surrendering the title is a way to conclusively have the mobile home deemed to be real property.
Okay,
there's a lot of factual inquiry if you don't have that surrender of title procedure, and that's why it was derived to sort of get a conclusive rule for everybody.
Well, the clarity is needed because in one of the areas that I do in the legal field is bankruptcy, and declaring this needed to be understood.
Yes, ma'am. You know what we're talking about. Thank you so much for the question.
The gentleman has one more question, if he'll yield.
Yes, sir.
Representative Al Williams is recognized for a question right down front.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Is it not true that in the process of paying for, say, a mobile home, that you can have the mobile home foreclosed on and removed but not lose your property? Is that not so?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely correct.
Thank you.
The gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask your favorable consideration of Senate Bill 119, and I yield the well. Thank you.
Good explanation. Thank you. Is there an objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Petrie rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, it is not true. This is a historic day because as soon as Representative Jason Ridley finds where his home is, he has an opportunity to own a piece of real property.
A man is where his heart is and where his home is. There's no doubt about that. Congratulations, Representative Ridley. Have all members now voted? All members voted. This, sir, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of Senate Bill 119, the yeas are 168, the nays are 0. This bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. We have a couple of agrees and disagrees and some other business, but we have some young people in the gallery. We're going to take a moment and honor them because they got to get back to getting what they do, and that's going back to school. Representative Anissa Jones is recognized for a distinguished group of young people. Representative Jones. Give the lady your attention, please.
Thank you, Speaker. If there's any members of the Macon delegation, please come up front with us, because we have some of the pride of Macon-Bibb County with us here today. And because I am a proud Northeast Raider graduate of 1989, and I'm glad that they are in the People's House today, because we are celebrating a milestone for our school. And I still say our because I'm still a proud Raider. This past year, our Raiders had a phenomenal season for football, as well as they went to the state championship for the Class A Division I. And hey, yeah, it does deserve some applause, but however, we fell a little short. But that's still not a reason to celebrate, because our team had not been to the state championship since the 70s. So I thought it was not robbery to make sure that we honor them and the good work that they did this year as going to the state with this resolution that I had before. But I do want to recognize those that are on the floor with us today. We have Macon-Bibb County Schools District Superintendent, Dr. Dan A. Sims. We have the principal of the Northeast High School here today, Dr. Donna Walker-Thompson. Our district athletic director, Kevin Grooms, is here. Our athletic director for Northeast is up there with the students. My classmate from the Fort Valley State University, Tangi Harnett. We have our head coach, the magnificent Jerry Wiggins, that is here. Other coaches in attendance, Robert Mays, Quentin Peavy, Trent Allen, Terrence Redmond, and none other than their star athlete player, Nick Woodford. Now, we're so proud of Nick Woodford because not only is he a athlete, he's a student, a model student of student athlete, because he is their valedictorian of their class this year. That is to be commended. So I want all those young people from the Northeast High School to stand up and receive your flowers while you are here, and and we're going to let you know that we love everything that you're doing to make us Raider proud. And with that, I yield the well.
Awesome job. Awesome job.
Congratulations. Good to have y'all in the People's House. Congratulations. Student athletes are the key to athletics. It's good to have you all with us. Thank you, Representative Jones. Representative Gerald Green is recognized for a motion. Representative Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 97.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Resolution number 97 by Representative Green in the 154th, authorizing the conveyance of certain state-owned property located in various counties in Georgia.
Chairman Green is recognized to explain the Senate substitute to House Resolution 97.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring you House Resolution by substitute. This is the committee substitute that the Senate provided to House Resolution 97. They are adding two particular parcels to convey, and this is they just didn't get them in time over here for the House to take care of them, so the Senate took care of them over there in there. One of them is for Fulton County, the other is Sumter County, and those individuals that are affected by the substitute have been notified in their districts. And that's the gist of that particular part of House Resolution by substitute to House Resolution 97. And I ask that you vote for House Resolution 97.
The gentleman has no questions. On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 97, all those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 97, the yeas are 162, the nays are 0, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute of House Resolution 97. Chairman Green is recognized for another motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a good feeling to go ahead and get these out of the way before that great day that's coming. I move, Mr. Speaker, and members of the House to agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 98.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Resolution 98 by Representative Green of the 154th and others authorizing the grant of non-exclusive easements for the construction, installation, operation, and maintenance of facilities, utilities, roads, and ingresses and egresses in, on, over, and upon various properties owned by the state of Georgia.
Representative Green is recognized to explain the Senate substitute to House Resolution 98.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the substitute that the Senate had sent over in regard to our easements. It's our annual easements that is given each year, and we are adding to that in the substitute of the Senate added, and we're going to agree to it, I hope, is Barrow County, Glenn County, Habersham County, Hall County, Harrison County, and Jeff Davis County. And all of these deal with the easements. And I ask for your favorable support of House Resolution 98 by Senate substitute.
No questions. The gentleman yielded the will. On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 98, all those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? On the gentleman's motion, the yeas are 166 and nays are 0, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 98. Chair recognizes Representative Ford for a motion. Representative Ford is recognized.
Speaker, colleagues, I'd like to make a motion to accept the Senate amendment to House Bill 55.
You want to accept this Senate substitute? Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Bill number 55 by Representative Ford of the 170th to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 1562 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the number of judges of the Superior Courts so as to provide for an additional judge of the Superior Courts of the Lappaha Judicial Circuit.
Representative Ford is recognized to explain the Senate substitute to House Bill 55. Representative Ford.
So,
House Bill 55, which adds a third judge to the Lappaw Judicial Circuit, and the Senate substitute simply corrects an effective date. I was part of that conversation, and I agree to the amendment that changes that date in Section 2 from July 2026 to January of 2026. I would appreciate everyone's support of this amendment and this bill. And if there are no questions, I yield.
Lady has no questions. She's yielded the well. On the lady's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 55, all those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? On the lady's motion, the yeas are 166 and nays are 0. The yeas 166 and nays 0. The House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 55. Pro Tem of this House, Representative Jones, is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 614.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Bill number 614 by Representative Jones, the 47th and others to be titled an act to amend Code Section 2510-2 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to prohibited fireworks activities and application of noise ordinances.
Pro Tem Jones is recognized to explain the Senate substitute to House Bill 614.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this relates to the bill to provide a degree of protection for our small horse farms by allowing a local government to pass a local ordinance should they choose to prohibit the use of fireworks. The original bill was 100 yards. The Senate preferred allowing a local government the discretion up to 200 yards, and I agreed, and the bill passed 50-1 in the Senate. I'd ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
The ladies yielded the well. On the ladies' motion, the House agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 614. All those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the lady's motion, the yeas are 168, the nays are 1, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 614.
What you got?
I'm going to see if he wants to sign it before I... See if he wants to sign it before
I will.
Members, we have quite a number of local bills and we would normally take them up one each at a time and take a few minutes. If there's no objection to suspending the rules and assigning all of these local bills to governmental coordination, we'll just have to read, we'll have the clerk to read the caption on them. Is there any objection? Mr. Clerk, if you'll read the caption to the local bills, and then we will assign them.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Miles, the 126 to be entitled, an act to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the probate court of Richmond County. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Smith, the 70th to be titled, an act to amend an act reincorporating, providing a new charter for the city of Newman. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Gullett of the 19th to be entitled, an act to provide a homestead exemption from Paulding County School District ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Ridley of the 22nd to be entitled, an act to amend an act to provide for the numbering of positions of membership on the Cherokee County Board of Education. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Ridley of the 22nd to be entitled, an act to provide a homestead exemption from Cherokee County School District ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Thomas of the 21st to be entitled, an act to provide a homestead exemption from Cherokee County ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Cummings of the 39th to be entitled, an act to amend an act consolidating the offices of tax collector and tax receiver into the office of tax commissioner of Cobb County. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Cummings of the 39th to be entitled, an act to amend an act creating the state court of Cobb County. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Cummings of the 39th to be entitled, an act to amend an act creating the state court of Cobb County. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Gamble of the 15th to be entitled, an act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from certain city of Cartersville ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Barton of the 5th to be entitled, an act to amend an act to provide a homestead exemptions from Gordon County School District ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Gaines of the 120th to be entitled, an act to amend an act entitled, an act to create a board of commissioners for the county of Jackson. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Jaspers of the 11th to be entitled, an act to repeal an act creating the Pickens County Airport Authority. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Jaspers of the 11th to be entitled, an act to provide a homestead exemption from Pickens County School District ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Carpenter the 4th to be entitled, an act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from Whitfield County ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Carpenter the 4th to be entitled, an act to amend an act providing for a homestead exemption for City of Dalton ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Carpenter the 4th to be entitled, an act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from Whitfield County School District ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Carpenter the 4th to be entitled, an act to provide a new homestead exemption from City of Tunnel Hill ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Carpenter the 4th to be entitled, an act to amend an act to provide for a new homestead exemption from City of Cohutta ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Carpenter the 4th to be entitled, an act to amend an act to provide for a homestead exemption from City of Dalton Independent School District ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Kelly the 16th to be entitled, an act to authorize the City of Cedartown, Georgia to exercise all redevelopment and other powers provided under the Constitution. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Kelly the 16th to be entitled, an act to provide a homestead exemption from Polk County School District ad valorem taxes. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Green of the 154th to be entitled, an act to amend an act creating the Lower Chattahoochee Regional Airport Authority. Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Taylor, the 173rd to be titled, an act to amend an act to authorize the governing authority of the city of Thomasville to levy an excise tax. And unnumbered House Bill by Representative LaHood of the 175th to be entitled, an act to amend an act relating to the Brooks County Development Authority.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. All these local bills will be assigned to intergovernmental coordination. Members, we have one bill that needs to be moved around a little bit. For what purposes does Chairman Tyler Paul Smith rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 163 be moved from judiciary to judiciary non-civil. Both chairmen are in agreement.
Ms. Clerk, will you read the caption?
Senate Bill 163 by Senator Moore, the 53rd to be titled, Act to amend that Part 5, Article 4, Chapter 11, Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Brady law regulations.
On the gentleman's motion that Senate Bill 163 be withdrawn from the Judiciary Committee and recommitted to the Judiciary Non-Civil Committee, is there objection? Hearing none, it is so ordered. We can do that. On your demand is my order. Okay, members, we're moving on to afternoon orders. We only have a couple, so let's get on with it. Representative Schofield is recognized for an afternoon order, then Representative Inga Willis, Representative Schofield.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As members of the House, at a time when people are losing their jobs due to no fault of their own or Georgia workforce remains a priority, I brought a new resource for you to help your constituents. Directly outside is the Goodwill. It's Goodwill of North Georgia. It's launching its first mobile career center. It's a bus outside. If you haven't had a chance to go in there and see it, go look at it. It really is amazing how they have digital job access, employment services, job training. They do soft skills, but they travel to you. So it's the Goodwill on wheels. They'll come to your district, put it outside a Walmart, a food bank, a community center. Bring it to your town halls. It's free, and they'd love to come to your district. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Representative Willis, Representative Inga Willis is recognized for an afternoon order. Give the lady your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, colleagues of the House. If I may please respectfully have your attention. I believe in a word called decorum. I believe in a word called civility. I believe in a word called respect. I believe in the word honor. I believe in the ancestors. I'm grateful for being the byproduct of people who operated by that sort of code. We are sent here by our constituents to represent them. There is inside the House behavior, how we treat one another, how we represent the needs of others who believe in us and give us their vote to represent their interests. Protocol requires that we not center ourselves in moments, but that we respect one another even though we may disagree. And I stand before you today to reaffirm that. I'm a black woman from the South. I respect what the Holocaust means, and I would never speak against it. Conversely, slavery shall not be mocked in this place, for it was built by its children, sons and daughters of the struggle. Me included, you included, most of us here today, because a court of law said we could be. We will not be mocked. We will not be duped. We will not be trinkets of negotiation. We will be colleagues. We will be respectful. We will make progress. We will move forward. Who we are in here versus who we pretend to be is all I want considered. And moving forward, it is my hope that we could have respect for one another as colleagues, and that we would not mock the very thing that made it possible for us to be here. And in so doing, don't hide your face. Bring it forth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
That completes our afternoon orders. We'll move on to privileged resolutions. Mr. Clerk. Members will give the clerk your attention. He reads a caption to a group of privileged resolutions. Mr. Clerk.
Honoring the life and memory of Caspin Reyes Tidwell Krantz. Honoring Jackson Hogshead for winning the 2024 GHSA Class 6A Individual Cross Country State Championship. Commending the Wilcox County Lady Patriots basketball team for winning the 2025 GHSA Class A Division II Girls Basketball State Championship. Recognizing and commending Grady Jarrett on the occasion of District 58 Day. Recognizing and commending the National Bond Incorporation Foundation, recognizing and commending Historic Norcross Business Association, recognizing and commending Kevin John on the occasion of District 58 Day, recognizing and commending Dondra Nicole on the occasion of District 58 Day, recognizing and commending Demetrius Williams on the occasion of District 58 Day, recognizing and commending Mr. Hankey on the occasion of District 58 Day, recognizing and commending Miguel Wilson on the occasion of District 58 Day, recognizing and commending Lorenzo Gordon on the occasion of District 58 Day, recognizing and commending the State Government Affairs Council upon its 50th anniversary, recognizing and commending Atlanta News First for its outstanding contribution to civic engagement, recognizing and commending Dana Fowle for her outstanding contributions to journalism, commending the Woodbine Public Library, congratulating the Bleckley County High School Girls Cross Country Team for winning the 2024 Class 1A Division I State Cross Country Championship, recognizing and commending Beyond the Ribbon, congratulating the Bleckley County High School Boys Cross Country Team for winning the 2024 Class 1A Division I State Cross Country Championship, recognizing and commending Paul Milken, feature reporter for Fox 5, recognizing and commending Marvin F. Billups Jr., recognizing March 26, 2025 as Clayton County Day, honoring the life and legacy of Reverend Clarice Wyatt Bell Church and expressing condolences to her family and loved ones. Commending Brittany Tompkins, recipient of the 2025 Georgia Single Parent Legacy Builders Award. Recognizing and commending Alvin J. Copeland. Congratulating the Georgia Southern University Clay Target Team. Honoring and recognizing Mark Wasserman for its decades of service and leadership. Recognizing and commending the 2025 regular session temporary administrative assistants for the Georgia House of Representatives. Recognizing and commending Dr. Giovanni Shoemake. Commending Laura Ray, Berrien County's Teacher of the Year and 2026 Georgia Teacher of the Year Top 10 finalist. Recognizing and commending Reverend Anthony Maurice Booker. Recognizing and commending Alfonso Williams. Commending Ariel Shaw and Southern Crescent Women in Business upon their 2025 Small Business Conference. Recognizing and commending Scott Maxwell on the occasion of his retirement. Recognizing and commending Maureen Patton. Recognizing and commending Joseph Joey Brown on his outstanding public service. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? Hearing none, the resolutions are adopted. We have some announcements. Representative Park Cannon, give the lady in the well your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, our Georgia House Democratic Caucus will meet upon adjournment in Capitol Room 230 to continue our conversation. Please immediately leave the floor and head to Cap Room 230. Additionally, tomorrow we will have a film screening of the film Me Period, which commends all of the work that we have done to put money in the budget to stop period poverty. You are invited out to join us in Capitol Room 230 tomorrow from 12 to 1 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Corbett recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Rural Caucus will meet tomorrow at 12 o'clock at the Ag Building. Anybody's here, come join us. Thank you.
Chairman Parsons recognized for an announcement.
Thank
Thank you, Speaker. Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications will meet at 3 p.m. here in the Capitol, room 403. Thank you, Speaker.
Chairman Tyler Paul Smith, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Judiciary Non-Civil Committee will meet at 3 o'clock this afternoon in Capitol Room 132. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Bonner, Chairman Bonner is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
friends.
Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm up here with the co-chair of the Georgia American Irish Legislative Caucus, and we have a meeting today in room 133 down here in the Capitol at 1 p.m. to discuss the caucus and then a trip to Ireland this summer. So if you please join us. Thank you.
Awesome. Co-chairs. Great caucus. Chairman Gunther, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Judiciary will have a meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in room 132 of the Capitol. Thank you.
Chairman Dickey, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Agriculture and Consumer Affairs will have a meeting in the morning, 8 o'clock, 606 CLOB. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman Lumsden, recognized for an announcement.
There will be a meeting of the Full House Insurance Committee tomorrow, 10 a.m., room CLOB 506. We have one measure to deal with. Thank you.
Chairman Williamson, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There will be Majority Caucus lunch today in room 403. Thank you.
Members, we all remember tomorrow is a committee day, so if your committees are meeting, you need to be here working. Need to be here in attendance and be working. I'd also remind you we have pages today, so if you have a page, you need to hang around a little bit and let's get a page photo. Representative Will Wade, are you still on the premises? He must be cutting his birthday cake somewhere then. Enjoying a little ice cream and cake. Representative Will Wade has a birthday today. Happy birthday to Representative Will Wade.
There he is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you way around there. So you've already had cake and ice cream? Good man. I got some balloons for you in my office. Don't worry. You'll be fine. Happy birthday. I don't think there's anything else coming before us. A majority leader of this House is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand in recess until 5 o'clock p.m., then stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Thursday, March 27, 2025.
On the motion of the majority leader, this House stand in recess until 5 p.m. today. And then we will be adjourned, and then we will be back here on Thursday, March the 27th at 10 a.m. Recess until 5 p.m. today. Then we will be adjourned. Then we will be back here on March the 27th at 10 a.m. on the motion of the majority leader. 10 a.m. on Thursday, March 27th. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed will say no. Wasn't even close. We are standing in recess until 5 p.m. Then we'll be adjourned. Great day. A lot of good work. Thank you, members.